Writing is the core of it, I think, of any, not just for us, for any filmmaker. I think writing is the core of filmmaking.
The minute it's rooted, the characters are rooted in some space, I think the subtext will come naturally. See, it's not about homosexuality, it's about any sex.
It's about sexuality.
It's about sexuality.
Hi, this is Reema Kagti.
Hi, this is Zoya Akhtar.
And you're watching Bollywood Hungama.
We have this Zoya Akhtar and Reema Kagti. They have an amazing talent of both writing as well as direction. Pleasure having you guys on Bollywood Hungama. I think that was right.
Thank you for having us
Thank
here.
you.
How important is writing for you guys? Because be it any of your films, I think it's a screenplay that that has a lot of layers, which makes it so amazing to watch as a viewer.
I mean, writing is the core of it, I think, of any, not just for us, for any filmmaker. I think writing is the core of filmmaking.
Right, but what's your process like while you're writing?
I think it depends. I mean, we write together, but we each direct our work. So it really depends on who picks which subject. Like directorially, we pick a subject, it's personal. We actually spend a lot of time talking, a lot of time in research or just hanging out. And then when we have a sense of where it's going to begin and where it's going to end, we start writing.
And say, for example, with Made in Heaven, I think you guys started in 2017 from what I understand. So it's been 2 years, less than maybe 2 years. So what all goes into it in terms of just deciding that what is the theme like? Because I really like what you guys have in terms of subtext. Aapke jo layers hote hain, I absolutely love it. Be it Gold, there's so many nuances in that. Gully Boy, I love the film. There's so many layers to it that is amazing.
I think the minute you contextualize a story, the minute you kind of root it into some kind of social space which we are familiar with, you know, the minute it's rooted, the characters are rooted in some space, I think the subtext will come naturally, you know. And if you you don't have cardboard characters, I think we try to make sure that our people are, you know, flesh and real. Blood. I think once you do that, I think the subtext just comes quite easily. It's just like the detailing just brings that out, you know, it just gets layered, you know, but you have to work on
like
it.
Made in Heaven, I think, I mean, it is the personal and professional stories of two wedding planners, but on the other hand, it's also a social drama, you know. So I think we both love things, you know, we both like things like this, and we try and achieve that kind of subtext, like you're calling it. And, you know, but I think it's layers, it's depth.
It's layers, and it's set in like, we definitely have in terms of when I talk about context, like we want it to be rooted. Like, so in, like when you take Made in Heaven, it is in a particular class of society of Delhi, you know, it's set in that space and the wedding is such an interesting melting pot because everything comes together. It's like the big thing that you spend on. It's the big thing that you've waited for, you know, within a family. And then it's got different generations coming together. It's got, you know, the modern and the traditional coming together. It's good. So you're bringing all these things together, where India is right now, where we are with our own constructs, with our own beliefs, with our own not just customs, but also things that are actually slightly off with our society, you know. That juxtaposed with a modern way of thinking, juxtaposed with knowing better, you know, with exposure. Just putting those things together, I mean, so these characters dealing with that in this society is interesting.
What is the freedom that you get as far as a web series is concerned, vis-a-vis movies? Because we see that homosexuality element, which I don't think you can maybe show that explicitly in a movie.
See, it's not about homosexuality. It's about any sex.
It's about sexuality.
It's about sexuality. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, even a film like Lust Stories, which I made, or which Karan made, I mean, I don't know how that would fly in a Hindi movie. And it's about sexuality. You know, I think there is a certain freedom because you do not have censorship. And there is a certain freedom to talk about sexuality without it being boxed in a particular way. So it's anybody's sexuality.
And it's also the audience that you're speaking to, sorry to interrupt, but you're speaking to a pretty evolved, you know, somebody who's watching an Amazon Prime original. It's a pretty evolved audience. So you're not really dumbing down for the lowest common denominator. which it's a kind of freedom. This is why it was so important for 377 to be repealed, so that government doesn't give consensus or kind of almost they approve of this criminalization. So that's why it's important. But it's going to take, I mean, it's been going on for years and it's going to take years to go away. So there will be a kind of social prejudice. Just because the Supreme Court has declared something, you can't change the way people think or feel overnight. But it's a positive step, and I think with shows like this, it will help destigmatize the whole thing.
Both of you guys, you write in English. From what I understand, maybe I think you think in English as well. A show like Made in Heaven, when you're working on it, do you feel a sense of freedom in terms of that you don't have to cater to that, that कि वो दादर की audience क्या सोच रही है या फिर वो पंजाब की audience क्या होती है?
If you've seen our work, you would realize that we don't think like that anyway.
We don't think like that
Maybe
anyway.
we should
but
start. But we don't think like that anyway.
There is a bit of, I think, transformation from you guys, from what, like, say, as far as you are concerned, with the Luck by Chance, and what we are seeing in Gully Boy, it has a lot of elements of mass in that.
Right.
Same with you. You're doing a gold with Akshay Kumar when you started with Honeymoon Travel. So there is a shift. You are having those clickbait moments as well. So I'm saying from that perspective, I think maybe that comes organically over.
No, firstly, like we also have a third writer on this, Alankrita Srivastava, which is she's actually the main writer with us. We've created the show. I mean, it is liberating because we do think in English. So to write in English was liberating. It's what is actually liberating is that as writers we tend to overwrite. So what was actually liberating is to have 8 hours of content, to be able to build characters, to be able to build stories, to be able to go into nuance and detail and not have to move on. You know what I mean? So that was really, really nice to create, to take your time to develop stories, and then to keep changing the scenario with each episode. With each episode, those were the things that were liberating. And yeah, you don't think of censorship, you don't think of things like that. So that is liberating. But otherwise, it's it's the same process beyond a point.
Hi, this is Reema Kagti.
Hi, this is Zoya Akhtar.
And you're watching Bollywood Hungama.